This is a must-watch video if you need to switch to Linux. I may be in the environment where I didn't even have a computer, but this is gonna be a video that where I in which I'm going to be sharing about my Linux experiences. So I have been using Linux for a while now, and I use it as a primary OS. Use it literally every single OS as a primary OS except for Mac. And here are my experiences. So I first used Linux 2 years back. I first tried Ubuntu OS as my primary OS, and to be honest, it was really good, but the thing that it lacked is the lack of ability to install the Windows softwares, especially the video editing softwares, which I was heavily relied on back on those days. And now I currently became a developer, and eventually became a developer, and then now I need development tools, but unfortunately I also need video editing tools to create content, by the way. So in this video, I am going to be sharing all the things that I learned from switching back and forth between Windows, Linux, and also using multiple distributions at the same time. So there are three ways in which we can, I think four ways in which we can use Linux, by the way. So the first way is by default, by using it as a primary OS. Just take a laptop and install Linux. You can go with any Linux distribution as you wanted. I use Kali Linux as it have lots of hacking tools, which I haven't used any of them. And but it also have a light version in which it just comes with a base Linux installation, but it also have everything installation in which it has a bunch of hacking tools, which I also tried, but I haven't tried the hacking tools, by the way. Anyways, even though I haven't used the Linux distribution to the fullest, I think it's not for me because I have lots of work to do when it comes to business, and I need to learn a lot. So here's my story. So I have been switching from Linux to Windows a lot of times. I also switched between distributions, namely Ubuntu to Kali Linux to Arch Linux, and again back to Ubuntu or Kali Linux. So here are the things that I learned. So all right, let me share my story, by the way. So I started to normalize using Windows because I think I don't need Linux most of the time. But if I need it anyway, I can achieve that by using another two methods, which is using WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, in which we can use Linux any distribution and install it directly in our Windows terminal and just use it in our Windows system itself. And another method is using virtual machine, which is a heavy thing for my laptop to handle, as I have 15-year-old laptop, and it just has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and running on a Intel Pentium processor, which is 15 years old. So I don't think that I can afford to run multiple virtual machines, and I also don't have much storage left. Even though it have 500 gigabytes of storage, it's not enough for me to run multiple bunch of Linux and simultaneously. So I think WSL would be a better choice for me, and I also went for it, and I used it for quite a lot time. And after that, I gone to a workshop, so where I met a guy who was using Arch Linux as his primary OS, and he was doing bunch of stuffs, like including hacking stuffs. And from him, I asked, I just gone to him and asked him, how do you find softwares to install? Because Arch Linux doesn't have app package managers like Debian OS. We need to search for everything, and Arch Linux also gives us a control over every single part. So I just asked him, and he told me, explained me about the R package manager. Arch user repository, I think so. So where the people will just upload their packages of the updated softwares. But even though he explained that, he also mentioned about how we can convert the Debian packages, which is a library rich package for every it has every single software, to be honest, except Adobe softwares, which I needed, by the way. So we can use Debian, we can use convert the Debian package to the Arch package and install it in our Arch Linux, but it lacks stability. And he also mentioned that, bro, who cares about stability? But on that time, it sounds cool. And I also tried to install, I also tried Arch Linux and installed it in the next day. But in that time, I came to notice that stability matters for me, because I also need to run business, right? So I just used for a week, and then I came to know that Linux is not for all. We need to know what we can afford, because I am in a stage where I need to scale. Where I need to grow. Not in the tech side. Tech side matters, but I also need to use bunch of AI tools which are supported in Windows and not in. Most of them are supported in Linux too, but still, yeah. The only reason I have is I need stability, by the way. So I need stability. So that's why I am using Windows and using Linux using the WSL. So yeah, maybe in the future I may have my old laptop for Linux, and a new laptop for Windows, and another laptop for Mac, if possible. So yeah, these are the things that I learned. So hope I shared something. So this is my first video, by the way, so don't judge me, guys. And yeah, this is gonna be a video where I shared something valuable. So the end of the day, what I need to share is use Linux if you need it, but make sure you know the needs. Instead of and it's not for fancy, it's not another fancy or impressing stuff. Even though other people, the guy I met was flexing his Linux skills, still we need to understand why we need these tools. Yeah, I think we need to know why we need these tools, and we need to use accordingly instead of just flexing around. What do you think, guys? Let me know it in comments. By the way, thanks for watching this video. Bye.